This is the homework helper for Chapter 12, Section 3 in the 7th grade workbook, Solving Equations with Variables on Both Sides. Let's go and take a look at the top part there. In the top part, notice what the directions are asking me to do. Even though these look like a solving equation question are, we're only doing the initial steps in that process of solving the equation. The directions are asking us to group the terms of the variables on the one side of the equal sign, which will be the left side for us, and get all the numbers over to the right side and just simplify. They're not asking us to actually solve. They're not actually asking us to find what the variable is. So let's look at number 1. You've got 10t is equal to 6t plus 24. Now remember, the rules we use for solving equations tell us to keep the variables on the left. So 10t being on the left side of the equal sign, that's a good thing. And 24 being a number all by itself on the right side of the equal sign, that's a good thing. So the only thing that's really wrong about this question right now are those 6 t's. Those 6 t's need to get carried back over to the left side. So remember, when I want to move something to the opposite side of the equal sign, I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite there. So that means right now I'm going to subtract 6 t's from both sides. And here I've got 6t minus 6 t's. That's going to cancel out and just leave me 24. And on the left side of the equal sign, I've got 10 t's minus 6 t's, which is going to change into 4 t's. So I've got 4t equal 24, and that's all I'm going to do. That's all they've asked me to do. Get the variable thing on the left. I have 4 t's on the left, numbers on the right. I have 24 on the right side of the equal sign. That's all I have to do. Let's try that again in number 2. Now in number 2, we're going to do one thing that we didn't do in number 1. If we look at number 2 right now, there's only one thing that's good about number 2, and that's the negative 6x, variable thing on the left. This 32 is a number, but it's on the left. It's supposed to be on the right. 2x is a variable. It's on the right, but it's supposed to be on the left. Since we have more things in improper locations than proper locations, I'm going to go ahead and invert the left and the right side here. I'm going to flip this around so it says 2x equals negative 6x minus 32. Now once I've done that, now I have more things in the correct location than the wrong location, because I have variable x thing on the left and I have negative 32 on the right. That's better. I went from one thing in the correct spot to 2 things in the correct spot, so the flip actually is going to save me a step. So now I've got an x thing on the right, this negative 6x, so I'm going to bring that over to the other side. Well, if it's going to move to the opposite side, I'm going to do the opposite, which means I'm going to add 6x to both sides. Remember, what's the opposite of a negative? Positive. What does positive look like? Positive looks like addition. That's why I'm adding 6x. These are going to 0 if you need further proof to why that works. So that's going to leave me 8x's, and 8x's equals negative 32. All right, let's go look at number 6, because number 6 is probably the one that most of you are looking at with a concerned look, because it has fractions in it. But just because it has fractions in it doesn't really mean anything significant to us. We're still going to continue down that path of rules that we've been using this whole time. Variables on the left, numbers on the right. So we see the thing that's in the incorrect location on number 6 is that 4/9 x. So that's got to move to the opposite side, which means I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 4/9 x from both sides, but luckily for us, you've got a common denominator here. So I'm not going to sit there and panic about that. I'm just going to work with it. 8/9 minus 4/9 leaves me 4/9. Remember, we just subtracted the numerators, x, and it equals 8. Even though it was a fraction question, it was a really pretty easy question. Of course, if we didn't have common denominators, we'd have to do that, but we didn't have to because it was already done for us. All right, so let's go ahead and go down and take a look at the next section now. In the next section here, now they're actually going to have me solving questions, not just putting the variables on the left and numbers on the right, but me actually solving these questions here. So let's start with number 8 there. You've got 32 minus 5v equals 3v plus 8. All right, so a couple things that are good here right now. That 5v is a variable thing and it's on the left side of the equal sign. That's good. And 8 being a number on the right side of the equal sign, that's good. So we see 2 things wrong, 32 and the 3v. Now some of you might be looking at this and saying, well, maybe we should flip this. Flipping this will not help you, because if you flip the sides here, you're still going to have 2 things in the wrong spot. So flipping it isn't going to save you any time whatsoever. You'll still have 2 things right and 2 things wrong. So 3v's got to get dragged over to that side. 32's got to get dragged over to the other side. Let's start with 32. It doesn't really matter which one you do first. I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. And when I do that, on the left side, that's going to leave me negative 5v. And on the right side now, I've got 3v still, haven't touched that yet. And then I've got plus 8 minus 32. Well, I can simplify that plus 8 minus 32 part. That's going to simplify down and give me minus 24, or plus negative 24, however you want to write it. 8 minus 32 does go to negative 24. Again, you can write it as plus negative 24 if you want, or you can just write minus 24. It will have the same meaning. Okay, so now we know this 3v still got to get dragged over to the left side because that's a variable thing. So same rules, I'm going to use that opposite side, do the opposite concept. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3v from both sides. And when I do that, now that's going to make those 3v's cancel out and leave me negative 8v equals negative 24. Well, now it looks like a one-step equation because it is a one-step equation. You just have to finish it. You're going to divide both sides by negative 8 at this point. And when I do that, that's going to give me a solution of v equals 3. So number 8, v equals 3.